Here we see Silicon Valley characters setting up Wi-Fi pineapples in a crowded tech conference room. They made a fake hotspot to access the free internet so that when they connected, they could stealthily download their code into people's devices. But they were caught soon. It was really easy to notice these guys. Rookies. In the series, the guys use a device known as the Pineapple. It allows attacks on Wi-Fi networks. In our video, we will talk about how to defend against such attacks, as well as try to experiment with a miniature analog of Pineapple, which we assembled ourselves, just to show you the attack principles. This video was created by the Sumsub verification platform, but more about Sumsub in a bit. Imagine that you need access to the internet. Maybe you've gone to another country, you have no signal or just no money. You automatically turn on Wi-Fi and suddenly notice a network with the attractive name Free Wi-Fi, or the name of the cafe where you're sitting. What's even more appealing is that the network is open, meaning it doesn't require a password to connect. You connect to it. Suddenly the browser pops up with a nice, familiar window. It's okay, the user would have thought and entered his data there. It's just end-to-end authentication. A lot of sites do that now. Often sites offer to register with an existing account. It's easier for the user because he doesn't need to remember different passwords. At this point, a red light on the device lights up and your credentials are on the hacker's device. If the hacker gets a password to, for example, a Gmail account, it's quite possible that he will later gain access to your other accounts via the password recovery procedure. Such a small mistake and your digital identity is at risk. Evil Twin is just one of the attacks that Pineapple-type devices are capable of. We'll be sure to look into what happened later.
Pineapple Wi-Fi attack is a popular form of stealing one's identity. However, this method has been around for years. Hi, my name is Lucas from Sumsub, and today I'm going to let you know about our in-house liveness and deepfake detection technology. It enables companies to detect criminals using deepfakes. The system ensures that users are physically present by creating a 3D face map of them, which is then continuously referenced for authorizing their actions going forward. Liveness technology is the most secure solution in a world where, frankly, passwords can be leaked and phones can be hacked. The solution uses people-friendly facial biometrics that work equally well all across the globe. It just takes 2 to 4 seconds to authenticate users and complete the check. If you want to learn more about our liveness technology, check out the link in the description below. This way, you'll be able to prevent all of those fake Tom Cruises from attacking your business.
So, in general, Wi-Fi Pineapple is a whole series of devices based on Wi-Fi routers or boards running a MIPS architecture processor. Its main difference from the usual router is a special firmware based on OpenWRT, which is packed with a lot of ready-made popular utilities for attacking Wi-Fi, wrapped in a nice web interface, which is so attractive to users. Pineapple does not have any advanced I/O tools. A hacker is supposed to control it remotely by connecting to it via Wi-Fi from a phone, while the device lies in a backpack and automatically performs attacks. Such an intruder will hardly arouse people's suspicions, because it's just a phone and a backpack. There are a lot of Wi-Fi attacks known today, and we definitely can't discuss all of them in one video. Some of them must be performed in the dynamics, moving and discovering new targets. But some of them are static. They work for a long time, waiting for certain events. And we'll talk just about a couple of these attacks. These are customer attacks. Such attacks often involve leaving the hacker's device in an uncontrolled area for an extended period of time, which makes the Wi-Fi Pineapple a kind of consumable item. And it's not cheap at all. An inexperienced hacker will undoubtedly take the easy way and buy a ready-made Pineapple. After all, now he will be able to hack his neighbor without even understanding how it works. However, once he loses such a miracle device, he may find out that it will not be on sale. Or, for example, it would take months to get this very specific device into his country. An inexperienced hacker would sit and wait, but real hackers can easily assemble a similar device, and for less money. In fact, in this era of abundant single-board computers, it's really easy to do this. Some single-board PCs can cost much less than a Pineapple. Single-board PCs, designed specially for DIY, are much more amenable to modifications and improvements than router-based devices like Pineapple. On router-based devices, as a rule, the memory is soldered directly on the board and an effort is needed to reflash the router, whereas single-board PCs can be flashed easily and without a soldering iron by installing an SD card. Also, a single-board PC runs on a more powerful ARM processor, for which almost all the software is ported in a convenient deb package that simplifies installation to the maximum, while for the MIPS architecture, many things must be compiled and configured manually. Also, the variety of ready-made operating systems for ARM is much wider. If the Pineapple is a ready-made solution out of the box, then your own device will allow you to set it up flexibly for different tasks, because there is a lot of public utilities available in Pineapple. Of course, this requires some knowledge, but we are talking about professional hackers. The most successful solution may be the Raspberry Pi Zero-W, one of the few widely known single-board microcomputers whose built-in Wi-Fi chip supports the operating modes needed for the majority of attacks. The main feature of attacks on both Wi-Fi and radio waves in general is a limited range. For Wi-Fi, the limit is 50 to 100 meters. And the received signal doesn't always allow the attacker to take a comfortable place with a laptop. It's an ideal device for an attack, which can be placed unnoticed near the targets, and the hacker does not risk being caught red-handed. In addition, the miniature device is easier to hide. It can be hidden inside the parcel or the drone. In a past video with a drone, a homemade Pineapple was used to perform radio attacks on wireless mice. The perpetrator may not use external adapters with massive antennas because the smaller range of the built-in network card can be easily compensated by the stealth of the equipment and the ability to put it closer to the targets. Let's analyze the hacker's actions step by step so that you understand how such attacks work in reality. Let's start with a detailed inspection of the device. Using any 3.7-volt lithium battery and a voltage boost board, we get a minimal configuration of our very own Pineapple. The 3.7-volt battery on the bottom supplies 5 volts to the 2nd and 9th GPIO pins via the MT3608 DC-to-DC step-up board. The voltage converter is also connected with an external micro USB for convenient battery charging and with a toggle switch for battery power. However, the Raspberry has 2 USB ports of its own, which means one can always use a regular power bank as well. Using a display can be wasteful in terms of saving battery power, so 3 LEDs can be used to indicate the process. The LEDs are controlled via the corresponding commands of the Raspberry Zero OS. For example, in order to light the LED soldered to pin 26 of the GPIO, the OS commands are executed in the device. Several jumper positions and 2 voltage points, 5 volt and 3.3 volt, are used for automatic start of certain scenarios. Also, the 8th and 10th pins are the points at which you can always open the software shell on the Pineapple device using a UART adapter. Such an indication is convenient because the hacker will immediately see if someone is caught before taking the hidden device away or if it's worth coming back later. Further, in the familiar shell, working with a device OS, you can make fine-tuning of the attack scenario. As you have already realized, Raspberry can be turned into a multifunctional attack device, and we have done that by writing the appropriate scripts. For security reasons, we'll hide some parts of the code because our goal is to show the attack principles instead of giving damaging advice. So, here we go. To quickly start the preset scripts, we use a jumper crosspiece on GPIO. Single-board computers like Raspberry with GPIOs on board can read the closure of certain pins pairs. It can be used as a simple input device like a keyboard. On software side, we monitor the jumper's position with a special command, which is designed to control the GPIO, supplying a small power or reading the conductivity. Now, by changing the jumper's position and shorting certain pins pairs just before turning on the device, the hacker specifies the start of the desired attack script. Parameters and cases of their usage are set in the auto-run script. The attacker's progress and results are saved to the corresponding files on the Pineapple memory card, with the name reflecting the attack type, time, and date. Just add this script to the auto-run. Pineapple is not the only device capable of attacking via radio, and some attacks are more appropriate, for example, from a phone. The form factor of the attack device is ideal for covert prolonged placement near the attacked objects, and the LEDs will inform about the attack status without connecting to the board. Let's go back to the evil twin attack. What happened there? The startup.sh script has the components that form this attack. The first component is the access point. It's script to start the access point. As soon as a client connects to Pineapple, the green LED lights up. Configuration file template for an open wireless network is the simplest. The configuration file specifies the network name, security type, open network, no password, and frequency channel, first in this case. The second component is a script to start the DHCP server. The yellow LED indicates that the client has obtained an IP address and has started using this wireless network. Proposed network configuration may be as follows. The configuration file specifies the suggested network settings that clients will automatically request via DHCP. This is the default behavior for wireless networks. The most basic things are set here, such as the range of IP addresses for the clients, the net mask, the gateway, and the DNS server. The Raspberry device will act as the DNS server. In the last line, we will set any DNS request from a victim to the Pineapple IP. This way, absolutely all the requests to any website will catch the hacking device. To make sure that no HTTP request gets passed, IP tables will turn back all web traffic from clients to Pineapple at the network level. The third and most important attack part is a small captive portal, implemented via a web server built into the PHP interpreter. It is probably the simplest way to implement a web server. If the user enters a password, Pineapple will notify you with a red LED. All requests are handled by the script. As a rule, modern browsers send almost nothing via Open HTTP protocol, and in many browsers, support of this protocol is even deactivated. But Captive Portal is a common mechanism limiting access to the internet from open wireless networks. So all modern operating systems, immediately after connecting, check the presence of captive portals by sending a special HTTP request. If at the moment the attacked party is not informed of the captive portal existence, the attack will fail. If successful, the system automatically displays a phishing page to the user, sniffing out certain data. It was this page that tricked our unfortunate user. Something similar to Evil Twin could happen, but with the aim already on the client devices instead of the user's devices. Suppose that the user in the previous story connected to the wireless network and saw the page asking him for his mail password, but he was smart enough to conceal it. However, he did make one mistake, having connected to the wireless network. This means that an evil hacker device can communicate with his computer over the network. It can start arbitrary network attacks. Given that the victim's computer perceives Pineapple as a gateway and forwards all its internet traffic, then in addition, MITM attacks can be developed. However, the hacker can not only pass data between the victim and the outer world, but also change it on the fly, redirecting to malicious sites or injecting malicious code. As soon as the wireless network starts up, global attack scripts are launched on the device, and as soon as a wireless client with an IP address appears, a barrage of targeted attacks are automatically started against it. The script starts attacks over and over again for newly connected clients. The attacker can now automatically start any computer attacks on the victim's device. Maybe the victim just doesn't have a strong enough password to log in. If the attacker's device picks it up, it could remotely install the backdoor, and the hacker can then remotely control that PC. The following script automatically checks the password strength of all connecting clients, and, if successful, runs a backdoor on them. Such a device loaded with RCE scripts can wait for its victim for a very long time. The user always initiates connection to the access point. It means that the defense against the demonstrated attacks is simple. Just do not connect to unfamiliar wireless networks, and certainly do not enter any personal and confidential data there. Speaking about Evil Twin, it is a classical example of wireless phishing, a social attack which attacks the weakest link, the person. There isn't any technical protection against it, except your awareness. Consequently, watching this video is like installing a patch in your head. The second vector was more technical and exploited bugs in your computer software. In fact, you're not immune to attacks on vulnerable software on any other network. But the solution is simple. Just upgrade and use strong passwords. Once again, Sumsub reminds you to be vigilant in the wild online jungle. See you again in the next video.